Earlier this week, Shanghai launched a two-part lockdown for 26 million residents there as cases surge in the financial hub. China watchers say the economic and social consequences of the country's hardline approach to COVID are mounting. For more, let's go to our correspondent in Hong Kong, Britt Clennett. Britt, China reported almost 9,000 cases on Wednesday.
That's right, Laura. A fraction of them are in Jilin province, which is in the northeastern part of the country, but most of them are in Shanghai. Now, that's why we're seeing this kind of staggered lockdown in Shanghai. From Monday, half of the city's residents went into lockdown, and from tomorrow, the other half will go into lockdown, and nurses will go through the entire city testing every single person. So drone footage has been released of Shanghai looking like a ghost town. Public transport has been suspended. The tunnels linking the city have been closed and factories have been shut as well. So Shanghai is an economic powerhouse. It is very important financially to the country. Many analysts are saying that this could have a long-term impact on the pace of growth in China if these extended lockdowns are implemented more frequently and at a prolonged pace.
What's the impact of these prolonged lockdowns? And what kind of impact is it having on residents who are still living under these restrictions as the world seems to move on?
Well, frankly speaking, Laura, it's people are having enough. It's very clear online when you start looking at some of the social media responses, some of the videos that have been released, that these harsh policies are taking a mental health toll on people. There are videos released of people begging to be released from these compounds, people fighting with health officials. In one case, a woman is standing outside her compound begging to be released so that she can go and get her husband's cancer drugs. These kinds of stories are very common online. What we're also seeing is many complaints about the state of quarantine facilities, these mass quarantine facilities, thousands and thousands of people crammed into one hall, having to share toilets that are soiled, no heating, no running water. You're not able to get a shower. You have to be able to bathe using cloths. It really is quite a grim situation for many people who are in these quarantine facilities. And many people online are pointing to here in Hong Kong, asking why we aren't in lockdown. Here in Hong Kong, we posted around 6,000 cases a day, around the same as Shanghai, and yet we don't have those kind of extended lockdowns. However, it's one thing to point to us, but we still have some of the most strict policies in the world, still mandatory mask wearing outside, 2 people gathering limit and dining curfews as well. So to point to Hong Kong as a kind of greener pasture is really saying something, Laura.
Yeah, absolutely. So how much is this no tolerance policy testing the relationship between the Chinese people and authorities, or traces of the issue being scrubbed out by Chinese censors?
Well, I think there's so much content out there, Laura, that they can try and censor as much as they'd like, but really it is out there, and you can tell because local authorities have even made a public apology, a very rare one, I must say, Laura, about these videos circulating of panic at supermarkets where vegetables and fruit are hard to come by. This is very rare for China, it must be said, but those videos circulating online with people fighting over basic goods has really rattled authorities in certain ways. However, some government academics have said that they have called, I should say, for a more balanced approach to this virus, that they should consider the mental health toll, that they should consider the economic toll. But there are no signs that the government, at a higher level at least, is willing to consider that. In fact, state media Xinhua came out with a report really putting Chinese President Xi Jinping's stamp on this zero COVID policy, saying that he drew up the policy, saying that he has led the fight from the get-go. You have to understand as well, Laura, that this has become an ideological counter to the West and the way that the West has handled the pandemic in some ways as well. So there are, of course, political dimensions to this as well, as is often the case when we're dealing with China.